Welcome to the Locks and Dogs NFL Picks Podcast, Week 1 edition. We've got the NFL Locks and Dogs that you need to hear, and the podcast starts right now. Hey, everybody, this is Matt.
And Mark.
Welcome to Locks and Dogs, Week 1. Fired up for this, Mark. You want to dive right into it?
Thursday night, opening night,
season kicking off the right way. Lions at Chiefs. We've got some news on this one, don't we?
We got some breaking news. It appears that Travis Kelce has hyperextended his knee. He is now questionable for the game.
If you're the Chiefs, you sit Kelce, don't you?
He's a baller. If he's healthy, he plays.
Okay, here's my thought. If you're the Chiefs and your goal is to be playing in January, I don't really think you care about September. If there's any potential long-term impact, I think he sits. I think they're probably going to play it safe. Now, they are a bit thin in their receiving core. Kadarius Toney is questionable, and Richie James also listed as questionable. Although you could pretty much say that they're both questionable anytime. Is this done anything to the line?
Well, I originally got this at -6.5. It's gone down to -5.5 as a result of the Kelce injury. Chiefs at 5.5. Lock it up for me.
Yeah, I think if anything, the line movement makes me want to take the Chiefs even more. I don't really think it's going to affect anything. I mean, there might be some impact in the red zone, but I've got faith in the Chiefs system that they'll find another option. And it's just interchangeable parts with that. As long as they have Pat Mahomes at the head and there's nothing wrong with him, it's pretty much interchangeable parts. I'm a bit concerned about the Chiefs defense with Chris Jones sitting out. I think the Chiefs cover. I still think that they can score enough to deliver the cover on Thursday night. What's kind of interesting to me is I want to see the Lions offense looks like this year as opposed to last year. Last year they're kind of this high-powered offense. They've added a couple pieces. A lot of hype on Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's what I'm interested in, some of the props there. The one I really like, Jahmyr Gibbs over in receiving yards. It opened at 25.5. I've got it, I think it's at 30 last I checked. It should still go over. I think the stat that I saw from last year was that Lions running backs average 44 yards per game receiving. Gibbs should get by far the majority of that this year. Lock it up for Jahmyr Gibbs in his first regular season NFL start and the receiving yards end.
Yeah, the Lions last year in 2022, they had the worst defense in yards allowed. But surprising, they were number 4 in offensive yards per game. Kansas City was number 1. I originally had Travis Kelce touchdown on here, but I'm going to look at Jerick McKinnon as an anytime touchdown.
It's a good one. It's a nice one. Yeah, I could see that. Okay.
If Kelsey's healthy, the anytime touchdown could still be in play, but I'm going to go with Jerick McKinnon. Over-under on this is at 55. What do we like for this one?
Beefy over-under for an opening night game. I liked it a lot more when it was like 52, 53. I don't know if I like 55 as much. That's a beefy over-under. Gun to my head, I probably take the over, but I probably don't bet it at 55. I think if you were going to bet this, you would want to get it earlier in the week when it was 52, 53, that range. I think it's a stay away for now. Gun to my head, it's the over.
I'm taking the under 55.
All right, moving on. Starting with the noon slate. Texans at Ravens. Spread -10. Over under 44. Ravens favored by 10. The analysis for me is pretty simple here. This is D'Amico Ryan's first regular season game as a coach. CJ Stroud's first regular season start as a quarterback. My bigger concern is that the Texans can't block anybody. They've got, last I checked, they had like four or five guys, offensive linemen, who are going to be out for the year already. I think CJ Stroud's going to be running for his life for the majority of this one. Don't see them being able to do much on offense if they can't block it. I like their skill position guys a lot. I'm just really concerned about the ability to protect CJ Stroud to make a decision or to block for any of the running back. I like the Ravens. I'm gonna lay the 10, take in with the Ravens. Don't love it, not locking it up, but that's definitely the way I'm leaning. I would love to do this in if you want to do this in like a teaser where you say you can get the Ravens down to say like 3.5. I'd like that a lot better.
With you on this. Ravens -10. Not a lock for me either. Lamar Jackson is back, and I see CJ Stroud is having a rough day versus the Ravens.
All right, as far as the over/under, gun to my head, I probably take the under. I really see the Texans scoring about 10 points in this one, if that many. So I'd probably bang. It's 44. It's not like a super hefty number, but I really don't see the Texans being able to do much against that Ravens defense. On the under for this one for sure. Okay. Next up, 49ers at Steelers. Niners -2.5 is the line. Over under 41 is the total. Mark, what do you got here?
This is my first dog of the year, giving the Steelers money line at +114. I think the wrong team is favored here. Bosa's still holding up. 49ers kicking situation has changed. They have their kicker right now is questionable. They had an automatic kicker in the years prior with Robbie Gould. Tomlin is 10-5-1 overall with a 66.63 winning percentage on opening day. Lock up the Steelers money line.
Okay. I'm with you almost in lockstep. I think it's the wrong team favored. I'm all over the money line in this one. As far as the over/under, I love the over in this one. I think 41 is a crazy low number for this game. I do think it's going to go over pretty easily. The game script there is I could see both these teams looking to get off to a quick start. Whether it means Deebo Samuel's heavily involved for the Niners, or whether it means George Pickens is heavily involved for the Steelers. I definitely see them trying to get the ball moving, early on. Yeah, I definitely. I think honestly, I think this one could be over by the third quarter. If I'm honest, it should be a pretty sweat-free cash on the over for this one. As far as the player prop that I like for this one, props just dropped this morning, and by this morning I mean the day we're recording on Tuesday. George Pickens opened at 34.5 receiving yards. He's over 41.5 already. A lot of line movement there. I still like it at 41.5. Don't love it as much as 34.5. Glad I jumped on it when I did, but that's the one I'd be looking to jump on. The receiving yards for this one is George Pickens on the over.
Yeah, I got the over as well. I think it's a high-scoring game. The line there is a bit too low.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next up, Jaguars and Colts. Jaguars -5, over under 45. What are you thinking here?
Give me the Jags -5. I think Anthony Richardson has a bad day. He has a rough first start. I think his whole season is going to be rough. Yeah,
I don't see things going very well. They don't have any rushing or receiving props listed for the Colts. They have a couple for the Jags. Nothing I'm really all that interested in. I think they've got a Travis Etienne rushing yards prop, 57.5. Actually, I like the under there. I think Bigsby is going to steal snaps from him, and it seems a little beefy for him for opening week. So I'd be looking at that under. I have a feeling it's going to swell as we get closer to game time. I'm going to wait before I bang it. I'd probably like to get it up to 60, 65 maybe. See if people bet it up. Decide I'd like to be on. Travis Etienne under rushing yards. Reason being, I think the Colts are just a bit more stout in the run defense. I think the only way for them to really compete is if that defense really tries to lock it down. And I think that's probably how the way it's going to play out. As far as picks for this game, Jaguars -5 is the pick, and I'd also be on the under 45. Again, I think the Colts are in particular going to struggle to score. I don't think they can necessarily protect AR-15. Yeah, he really should struggle in his first outing. -5, under on the 45.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on the under as well.
Cardinals at Commanders. Commanders -7, over under 38. Thinking Cardinals are going to start the season off right, and by start the season off right, I mean they're going to lose by a lot of points to a Commanders team that really isn't very good. -7. I locked this one up as soon as I saw it, or as soon as I saw that Josh Dobbs was going to be the starting. Well, I take that back. They haven't announced the starting quarterback. If you're a head coach, keeping the quarterback that you're starting under wraps, I think that's a sign that you're in trouble as opposed to the other team is in trouble.
Yeah, I'm lock it up on the Commanders for me at -7. One thing of note here is that Terry McLaurin is questionable with turf toe. Chase Young is also questionable. I don't know if I see
the only way it really matters is on the player props for Curtis Samuel. I like that a lot more. I like his receptions a lot more if McLaurin's out. I think he's going to soak up a couple of those catches if McLaurin does in fact sit. Either way, I kind of like Curtis Samuel anyway because I think he's going to be like a security blanket for Sam Howell, quarterback. That's the one player prop I'd be looking at. I don't think it's dropped yet. Curtis Samuel, I'm guessing it's going to be like 3.5, 4.5. Lock it up to the over no matter what it is. Bang it. Commanders -7. Lock it up. I think Vegas has the number just about right at 38. I could see the Cardinals getting like a garbage time touchdown or two that could push it over, but I do think the Commanders are going to roll and they should be able to put up at least 20, 25. The over. That's the side I'm leading on though. Buccaneers Vikings. Vikings -6 is the line. Over under 45.5.
I'm taking a flyer on this one.
Okay, go for it.
I'm taking the Bucs money line as a dog plus 250. I think Captain Kirk is overrated on the Vikings.
He might be. Yeah.
I think they had a very lucky season last year.
They did.
The Buccaneers, they actually did well in terms of defense last year. 10th yards allowed in 2022. The Vikings were 31st. Vikings were very much an offensive juggernaut last year.
I think you're nuts. I'm not taking Baker Mayfield on the road, especially in his first start with a new team and a new coach. Yeah, give me the Vikings minus. I'll lay the 6. I just think there's too many weapons in the Vikings, even without Dalvin Cook. Now, the backfield is a bit interesting because I don't think Madison's going to absorb all the Dalvin Cook carries. I think they're going to spread those out among a bunch of different guys. In fact, Madison might not even be the main guy. Vikings offense, I don't think is really going to miss anything. They've still got Justin Jefferson. They've still got TJ Hawkinson. They've added Jordan Addison. It's too many weapons for the Bucs to be able to handle. I think the Vikings roll, especially at home on week 1. Give me the Vikes minus the 6. Bengals at Browns. Bengals minus 2.5. Over under 47.5. There was some concern that Joe Burrow was going to have to sit out for week 1. Everything I've read is that he's planning on playing. It seems like he's going to be a full go. I don't think his injury was nearly as bad as they first made it out to be with getting the cart for him during training camp. I understand being cautious with your quarterback, but I think that was when you got to get like a team of 8 guys and a cart for a calf strain. Either way, he's playing. He's a full go. The Browns have looked awful. Their first team offense in particular has looked awful this preseason. Deshaun Watson looks like a guy who's missed about 2 years, a year and a half of his career. It kind of reminds Michael Vick when he tried to come back right away. It's kind of continued into this year. It's obvious he's just not the same guy that he was. I'm on the Bengals minus the 2.5. I don't think there's a whole lot to analyze here into the Bengals Bengals are just a better team, better offense, better defense. I don't see an area where the Browns can really compete. I think the Bengals roll. This one could get out of hand early as far as, based on what I've seen.
Give me the Bengals -2.5. This is a lock for me. Stat here for you. Browns are 121-1 in season opener since 1999.
As far as the over-under, 47.5 is a beefy number for this one. I probably lean to the under. I just don't think the Browns are going to be able to score all that much. If they get double digits, I'd be impressed. And I don't think the Bengals really need to score all that much to win this. I see the Bengals getting to 30, and I could see the Browns, struggling to get to, do they get to 14? Maybe. I want to be on the under that 47.5.
I agree. I'm taking the under at 47.5 also.
Next up on the list, Titans at Saints. Line is Saints -3, over under 41. What are you thinking here?
I like the Saints -3. This is kind of a toss-up for me. I don't feel all that great about it, but I think that the addition of Derek Carr is definitely a step up in terms of quarterback.
Derek Carr is that big of a difference between Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Give me the Saints -3. That's my.
I'm on the Titans +3. Sprinkle the money line. All the matchups is one of the more intriguing. This is one of the games that I'm kind of more excited to watch on Sunday. I think both of these teams are legitimate playoff contenders. I think the Titans could legitimately win that division. It's a veteran team. They've been competing on that division for years. I don't think this is the year the wheels necessarily fall off right away, at least not in week one, if it does. I think they've got everybody healthy as far as I could tell. Check the injury line, the injuries before this. I didn't see anybody that was all that concerning. The Saints, I like some of the things they've done on offense, as far as adding Derek Carr. Chris Olave, I love this year. There's a guy that I would look to bang in the props if once they get dropped for this matchup. Catches and yards. I think he's going to be kind of a security blanket for Derek Carr this year. But I think the Titans are a bit, I think they can handle the Saints offense when they're on D. And I feel like it's going to be the ground and pound, grinded out offense that we've come to kind of know and love from the Titans when they have the ball. I think the Titans are able to kind of get an early lead, kind of strangle this one to death. And if not, I think it's going to be a close game either way. So I would rather be on the +3 and sprinkle the money line because I think it's going to be the right side in this one.
Yeah, I think they're both pretty much evenly matched teams.
Well, if they're evenly matched, then wouldn't you want the +3?
I see the Saints winning this one.
They can win. Hey, good teams win. Great teams cover, Mark. Rolling right along. Panthers at Falcons. Falcons -3.5. Over under 39.5. What are you thinking for this game?
We got another dog here. Give me
boy.
the Panthers money line at +154. I think that Bryce Young is the only rookie QB to get a win this Sunday. I think Bryce Young has a good game. Lock up the Panthers money line.
Again, we're in conflict here. I'm on the Falcons -3.5. 1, I like the Falcons at home. 2, I am not a big believer in Bryce Young at all. I think he's got a bit too much Kyler Murray in him and not enough. I kind of wish he had a bit more Baker Mayfield in him. And what I mean by that is I can see Baker leading a team. I can't see Bryce Young as a leader of men. He's too tiny. He's a little man. I think the Falcons roll in this one. They got that ground and pound offense. I don't really think Desmond Ridder is a factor in this. In fact, if I had to fade any of the props in this, it would be the Desmond Ridder under passing yards. They set it at 200.5. Do you think he gets to 100?
No.
I mean, there's a lot of game scripts where he could be under 100. Like, no joke. Throws an early interception. They pull him for Taylor Heineke. Guess what? That prop covers. I'd look to be on the under for 200.5 passing yards for Desmond Ridder. However, I think the ground and pound offense, I think Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algauer, even Desmond Ridder is probably going to pick up yards on the ground against the Panthers defense. From an over-under perspective, I kind of like the over barely. I think we get over 40 points. I think it's going to be a real slog. This is not going to be a pretty game by any stretch of the imagination. I think Bryce Young's probably going to come out rough on the Panthers side. I don't like Desmond Ridder. It's just going to be him handing off, 5,000 times is probably what the offense is going to shape up to be. But I do think we get over the 4. I probably won't bet this. I think Vegas has the number just about right at 39.5. But if gun to my head, I would probably bang the over for this one. Oh, I got to hold my nose for this one because this line stinks. Eagles -4 at Patriots. It's Patriots at home. Okay, fair enough. Understood. Over under 45.5. What is the case? Who is rushing out to bet the Patriots at +4?
Well, Bill Belichick is 1-2 in home openers since Tom Brady leaving the Patriots. I have the Eagles -4 on this one. You're onto something. It sounds like it could be a trap.
This line stinks. I'm sorry. It should be if Vegas was serious about getting people on the Patriots, they'd set it at +6, +7. I just think it's too low. I don't know I don't know how the Patriots are going to score. I don't see how they're going to stop the Eagles on offense. There's just too many weapons on that Eagles. I mean, it's got me scratching my head. I would almost say this one's a stay away. I do like the Eagles -4. I think the Eagles are going to win outright. Whether they cover or not, again, it seems like Vegas is a better insight. I mean, everybody is going to be on the Eagles this weekend. Literally everyone. Usually tells me that something's up. Vegas is cooking something up here. So that almost makes me want to go the other way and take the Pats on the money line. Maybe, I could see it. I don't see the game script for that. I don't believe in Mac Jones. I don't believe in the Patriots. It's a team that's probably going to struggle this year. They weren't great last year. I think they set the over-under in wins last year at 8.5. I think they were just under it. 7.5 this year or 6.5 this year. I don't understand why this line should be higher. This is a Vegas zone one. I'll take the Eagles. I'll hold my nose. I'll take the Eagles. If somebody wanted to sit like a gambler and take the Pats money line, I wouldn't hate
hate it. Well, if Jalen Hurts gets injured in the first quarter, conspiracy theories will be abound as to
who's the backup there now. It's Mariota, isn't it? Yeah, it'd be the Marcus Mariota Eagle. Right, next up, Packers at Bears. Bears -1. Bears favored against the Pack. We haven't seen that in a while. Over under 43. Okay, tell me what you got, Homer.
Bears money line. I'm not locking it up. It's a Homer pick for sure. The Bears were the worst team in the NFL last year.
Yep.
Do see them improving on both offense and defense.
Okay.
I don't know if Jordan Love is the answer, but
okay. We've talked about this previously, and we're going to refresh the listeners. Okay, so the Bears defense is better. Okay, what percentage of improvement would you set?
50%.
50% better. Okay, so that means, if last year they gave up 30 points, this year they would give up 20. That's your you think that's where they're at? I disagree. I think they are. Okay, I disagree to an extent. I think the Bears are better. They're improved up and down that roster. But if you were to line up the rosters, comparatively, the Packers have by far the superior roster. They do. Okay, even with the question to quarterback that they have, the one question, it's a better roster. Okay, that's one. Two, where's the Bears defense soft?
Probably in their defensive front.
Yep, defensive line. Okay, I think the Packers are going to come out, ground and pound it. They're going to be able to move the ball with Aaron Jones, going to be able to move the ball with A.J. Dillon. They're going to employ a short passing game for Jordan Love that doesn't ask him to do too much. If you actually, historically, Aaron Rodgers was never a big time yards guy. He would occasionally go off, yeah, but he was never like week in, week out, 300, 350 yards. No, it was usually closer to 200, 240, 250, but his completion percentage would be through the roof. He would be completing, 65, 70, 75% of his passes. I think that's the formula for them. If they stick to that, if they only ask Jordan Love to make high percentage passes, they beat the Bears up with the ground game, I think the Packers defense is good enough to slow down the Bears offense, get the win. Cheer with my heart. I bet with my wallet. Give me the Packers. Money line. I don't care about the point. Give me the money line. Packers going to win outright. Give me the over in the 43. I liked it at 43.5. It's come down a little bit. I still like it. I think both these teams put up points. Probably the Packers a bit more than the Bears, just because, again, Bears' defensive front is not great. I don't see how they generate a pass rush, and I don't see them stopping the run. I think it's going to be a rough day for the Bears.
I like the over at 43 as well. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yep.
I'm sticking with my Homer pick.
Lock up the Packers on the money line.
We'll see if I change my tune next week.
Give me the biggest lock we can find. Next up, Raiders at Broncos. Broncos -4, over under 44. This is one of my dogs. I can't bet on the Broncos at -4 against anybody. Give me the +4, sprinkle the money line. I just don't trust Russ. I think he's washed. I think he's cooked. I think whatever way you want to describe how he played, awfully hard to throw passes with that massive fork sticking out of his back. I see the Broncos, I don't see them really improving all that much on offense. The one guy I would like on their side is Cortland Sutton. I haven't seen the receiver props drop for this one yet, but I would be looking to bang Cortland Sutton. I think it's essentially, we've seen him be a number one guy before, kind of. I don't see anybody else who's really competing with him for targets in that offense, really. So I like the Raiders with this one. I think on offense, Jimmy G, he's enough that'll keep them out of some of the mistakes that Derek Carr was making last year. I think, Jacobs on the ground going to provide that balance that they're going to look for. And Devontae Adams is still Devontae Adams. I don't care who's throwing him the ball. I mean, really well last year with, Derek Carr and whoever they did bring in the backup. It was Jarrett Stidham that they brought in. Yeah, that's what I thought. He was fine no matter who's throwing him the ball. I don't think he really cares. As long as the ball's there, he's going to catch. And I think the Raiders can do enough on I take that back. I don't think the Raiders defense really matters because Russ is so bad. That's my thought process. Give me the Raiders +4. And the over-under, I'm on the under. I don't love it. I'm probably going to bet it, but I wouldn't lock it up.
I'm taking the Broncos -4. Surprisingly, the Broncos defense was 7th in yards allowed last year, so their defense was surprisingly good.
Oh yeah, it kept them all. I remember watching some. It would be like a 13-10 final. It was misery. It was some of the worst football I've ever seen in my life.
I think Russ gets back to cooking again under head coach Sean Payton. I think that they are going to be a much improved team this year. I'm not sold. I've never been sold on Josh McDaniels as a head coach. I don't know if Jimmy G is a better quarterback than Derek Carr.
Fair enough. No, your point taken. I was pondering the Jimmy G versus Derek Carr comparison. I think it was obvious that the Raiders needed a change. So I think any change is, and I don't see that big of a difference in skill set between the two, to be honest. Maybe Derek Carr is a bit more skilled of a passer. Either there, I think we're kind of splitting hairs as to if it's an improvement or not. I think they needed a change. And I think for a locker room, a change can be positive, especially when it was obvious that it wasn't working last year. There was some friction there. Rolling to the next one. Rams at Seahawks. Seahawks -5.5. Over under 46. What are you thinking here? He's got a little bit of a smirk, not a big one. What's going on here, Mark?
Give me the Seahawks -5.5. 5.5. Not entirely sold on the Rams this year. They were terrible last year. I think Sean McVay wants out of coaching. I think he regrets not taking the Amazon deal he was offered the year before. Cooper Kupp is questionable going into this game. That could be a long-term injury for him. The Rams had the worst offense last year in terms of offensive yards. Stafford was injured. He's back this year. I think the Seahawks are a better team than the Rams. Or give me the Seahawks. Mine's fine. Yeah.
All right, I'm on the Rams plus the 5.5. Yeah, Cooper Kupp probably isn't going to play this week. I'm sorry. When your star receiver is visiting a hamstring specialist, like flying to like different places to go, I mean, preparing for the game. It's just, he's not really like doing film study. He's on a plane to talk to a hamstring specialist. How many hamstring specialists do you think there are on the planet? Like, honest, jetting to like Buenos Aires to talk to somebody about his hamstring. Either way, I don't think he plays this week, but I don't think it matters. Reason being, I think we get a dead cat bounce with the Rams. I think that they were just so bad last year and so injured that anything they do this year is going to be an improvement, whether Cooper Kupp is there or not. I think they have enough offensive weapons where they can get by without him for a week or two. The concern with the Seahawks is one, we saw Geno slow down at the end of last year. It was clear that teams were really starting to figure out like what he was capable of doing and what he was good at. I think the book is kind of written on him. If he can change it up and do something else, great, might win it. I don't think he can. I think if he could, he probably would have, and I don't think he has. That's my thought. On the offensive side, the Seahawks really don't scare me. They've got a couple. They've got the receivers. They got the the two-headed monster in the backfield with Walker and Charbonnet. I think the Rams are going to be able to do enough on defense to keep them honest, and I think they'll be able to score enough with them. I think they'll be able to score enough to at least make this interesting down the stretch. I like the plus 5.5 for the backdoor cover here. I just think 5.5 is too beefy. Actually, I would even probably wait to bet on this one because I think once word breaks that Cooper Kupp is not going to play, which is my guess is current. I don't have any inside information whatsoever. It's just my feeling based on him flying around the country to talk to specialists. It's simply not a good sign. It's not a sign of a guy who's playing on a Sunday, or at least not next Sunday. It's usually the Sunday after once the specialist gives him the secret stem cell injections. Either way, give me the Rams plus the 5.5. I think they get a backdoor cover at the end just to kind of ruin everybody's Sunday. There's over under. Give me the under 46.5. I think this is going to be kind of an ugly game, like a 10-7 halftime score that ends up being like a 2017 final. So give me the under. All right, next up, Dolphins at Chargers. Chargers -3, over under 51. This is one of my dog locks. I love the Dolphins in this spot. You've got the Chargers playing their first game this season. Everybody always gets super hyped about this team, and they seem to kind of fall flat on their face to start seasons. It's just kind of the script that they followed. It doesn't scare me that this is East Coast to West Coast. It's week 1. I don't think it matters as much as it normally would. As far as the points go, playing in Los Angeles is not really a home field advantage when the crowd is showing up at halftime. Doesn't so I'm really not that concerned with the Dolphins heading to LA this week. I just think the Fins are a better team up and down that roster, and that's really why I'm betting it. I'm going to take the give me the +3 and give me the money line sprinkle. I would even consider parlaying this one with who's the other dog I just like? Packers. That'd be a nice afternoon parlay. Little Packers Fins parlay on the money line. As far as the over under, I think there's going to be a ton of points scored in this one. I definitely like the over. Fins are incredibly explosive. I don't see the Chargers being able to keep up with them quite as well. I don't see the Chargers defense being able to keep up with some of their weapons quite as well. I think the Chargers they're gonna have to throw in the second half because they're probably playing from behind. So I definitely see them trying to scoring to catch up. The way I like the over 51.5 is probably one of my favorite plays in the day, along with the Fins on the money line. Actually, I'd even look to see if you could parlay that somehow, where you could maybe get it down to say maybe over under 47 plus the Fins in the money line. Try to get a little extra juice. Maybe get it up to plus 200 there. What do you say?
I'm going with the Chargers -3. I think these are two pretty much evenly matched teams. I don't feel great about it.
I wouldn't feel great about it either. That's why I'm betting the Fins.
I do like the under at 51. I think some of these lines are just a bit too high for week 1. For me, really not too much to say here. Don't feel great about it. Give me the Chargers -3.
Sunday Night Football. Cowboys at Giants. Cowboys -3. Over under is 46.5. What are you thinking here?
Taking the Giants money line at plus 142. A dog for Sunday Night Football. I think Daboll has the Giants going this season. The Cowboys last year did improve surprisingly. They had a top 5 defense in yards allowed last year, and they both teams went to the playoffs last year. So the Cowboys were much improved surprisingly. I think it'll be interesting to see if Mike McCarthy can keep this up. But give me the Giants money line as a dog.
I'm on the Giants also. At home, Sunday night, the crowd should be lit. You're going to have the Giants crowd going crazy. Don't really trust Dak on the road, especially in a favorite spot. Their offense is going to be weird this year. And what I mean by that is they're looking to make Tony Tony Pollard the guy, and he's never been the guy before, and he got hurt last year. Best predictor of future injury is past injury. I'm not saying he's going to break his leg again. I am saying that I don't see him being able to hold up for the full season. In fantasy, I don't have any shares of him anywhere, and I'm not a big believer in him. I don't think it's going to work quite the way they think it's going to work with him as the guy. And I think this Cowboys offense is not going to be quite as smooth as we've seen it in the past. That said, I love the Giants defense. The matchup for the Giants defense here at home, lit crowd, Avon, Bradbury, you name it, they're freaking lit. On the offensive side, I think the Giants can do enough, especially on the ground against the Cowboys to win. I'm not worried about Dan Jones on Sunday night. He's at home. He's got his crowd backing him. Been in the system. He's had the same coach finally for like multiple seasons. He's been in the system for a long time. They gave him, it's a multi-year contract. I don't think it's I wouldn't consider it necessarily like super long term. He's got a bit of security there. He's got. I think is it Tyrod behind him still?
Yes.
So you got Tyrod. So that means they're not going to be handing the reins over to Tyrod anytime soon. I don't think. So give me the Giants. I think they roll on Sunday night. I really do. As far as the over/under, I kind of like the under at 46.5. I don't see the Giants as having. I think they have enough on offense that they can score points against the Cowboys, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to be nearly as high powered as folks think they are. I think there's going to be a lot of action to the over, is my guess, because it is set a bit low, at least for these two teams. So that means I'd probably again try to wait for it, see if we can get up to 48, 49, and then jump in on the under to see how the line action goes. It's been at 46.5 for a while. I think it's probably it could end up staying there too. Right, brings us to Monday Night Football. Bills at Jets. Bills minus 2.5. Over under again 46.5. One of those key numbers for Vegas. For this one, what are we doing here? Like, I don't understand why this is only 2.5. I just think that again, you go up and shine off the Bills this year. I don't quite get it. They're returning mostly the same squad. They've still got it. They still got that great defense. They still have that great offense. I don't know why folks are shying away from them this year. I feel like a lot of folks are. At 2.5, I like this for them. I think, it's DeMar Hamlin's first game back. You're going to have some emotion, even on the road, hostile environment. Jets, again, it's another team with a fan base that when they get a little too high, something tends to happen. And in this case, I think they're a little too high with Aaron Rodgers, a little too high with what they think of themselves. I could definitely see the Bills covering that 2.5 point spread, pretty easily on Monday night. Bills lock it up minus the 2.5.
I like the Bills minus 2.5. This is also a lock for me. Jets were last year, had one of the best defenses in the league and also one of the worst offenses in the league. They also added Dalvin Cook in addition to Aaron Rodgers. It's worth noting that Brett Favre as a Jet won his first game against the Dolphins, but I don't see the same thing happening here with Aaron Rodgers.
That's an interesting nugget, but completely irrelevant.
I think the Bills are a lock on Monday night.
Yeah, I think we've got to give our favorite picture of the day. In the early games, my favorite's by far the Steelers. Again, wrong team favored. Steelers money line, love it. For the late game, my dog there would be the Finns. I love them at +3. I like it on the money line. Love it at +3. I'd even consider doing a little parlay there. Steelers and Finns, Packers and Finns, Steelers and Packers. Maybe do a little round robin action. Either way, that's where I'm at for my lock and my dog. What do you? Is there one that you're favoring in particular?
I like the Steelers too. I think the Steelers are a great dog pick. Yeah.
Giants too. That's another really good one.
If you want to do a dog parlay,
there you go.
That might
Dogs
be
bark. Right, Mark, you're the king of the 3 tub dub parlay. So have you got any tub dub picks for us?
I do have. Now I was going to include Travis Kelce in this, but since he is now potentially injured, I'm going to look at doing Jerick McKinnon +185 anytime.
Okay.
Mark Andrews on the Ravens +135.
Okay,
anytime.
you might want to check on his status. He's got a Q next to his name. I love the Ravens tight ends in that matchup. Especially I like his Isaiah Likely a bit more, especially in the red zone. I'm kind of out on Mark Andrews for this year. I think he's getting in that age tight ends start to kind of break down a little bit. So I'd be a bit concerned about him. I like the Isaiah Likely play. I don't like the Andrews play as much, but I definitely see the thought process here and like where you're thinking. Okay, so you got McKinnon, Andrews, and who's the third?
Mike Evans at +160.
And if you were to parlay those 3, what would that look like? 16 to 1, 16 and almost 16.5 to 1. That's some pizza money right there, my friend. The one I would mention, I like the Isaiah Likely touchdown in the Ravens Texans matchup. It's like +245. Their tub dubs worth looking into. I kind of like Chris Olave at +185. I picked against the Saints, but I could definitely see them. I definitely see Chris Olave picking up a tub dub in that game. Joe Mixon, I feel like we've kind of been there, done that, but he's +110 for anytime touchdown. I kind of like that. Brian Robinson +175 against the tanking Cardinals. I could see him getting a goal line carry. You want to live dangerously, Sam Howell could also be the goal line back there. You get a little bit of wiggle to him. The one I kind of like, Tyler Allgeier versus the Panthers at +245. Anytime tub dub. Justin Fields +140. Khalil Herbert +210. That do anything for you?
Possibly. I like Fields better.
I agree. Yeah, I'm same. Tyreek Hill plus 110. I like that too. Eagles, Patriots, stay away. Josh Jacobs plus 115. Take one plus 100. Darren Waller plus 185. Let's go. That's where I'd look to be at. Yeah, the Darren Waller plus 185 is quality.
Yeah, I like that too.
The super deep one that I like is Kate Otten on your fighting Bucks. Kate Otten odds. It's high. It's like plus 4. Kate Otten plus 295. A little 5 around that. Why not? Mark, we've just about covered week 1 from just about every single angle possible. This has been the Locks and Dogs podcast for week 1 of the NFL season. Check out locksanddogs.com for the latest gambling picks and news. Hit that subscribe button to get notifications for the latest episodes. And please leave us a review. We'd appreciate 5-star reviews. What else would you give us? We'd love to hear from you. No matter what you have to say about us. The only way we're going to get better is if we get feedback. Nobody's better than our audience, and that's you. So we appreciate you for listening. For Locks and Dogs, this is Matt.
This is Mark.
And we'll see you next week.